This next section is the removing products or adding reactants in Le Chatelier's principle. So Le Chatelier's principle is something we've been talking about all along as a shift in the equilibrium by a change or disturbance in the system. And the examples I used in class or on previous videos have been things like when you climb the stairs, your breathing rate increases, and that's because of the muscles need more oxygen, so you breathe faster to get a faster exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. When you're hot, you sweat because evaporation cools you down. So there's all types of examples of Le Chatelier's principle with the body, which is an easy example because everybody's experienced those. Well, chemistry also undergoes Le Chatelier's principle, and there's going to be three that we're going to be looking at. Adding and removing products and reactants, changing the temperature, and changing the pressure. So the first one is, this is the way that the book states it. When a reactant is added or a product is removed, the equilibrium produces more product. When a reactant is removed or more product is added, it shifts to produce more reactant. I find this confusing. I found this image down here that basically if I add something, when I add, it shifts away. So when I add a reactant, it shifts right, and right, of course, is the products. Oops. And left is reactants. So when I add a reactant, it shifts towards the products. When I add a product, it shifts towards the reactants. So when I add something, it shifts away from it. When I remove something, it shifts towards the removal. So if I remove a product, it shifts towards the products. If I remove a reactant, it shifts towards the reactants. And to me, that's an easier way of thinking about it than any of the others, because I basically just now have two statements. If I add something, it shifts away from what I added. If I remove something, it shifts towards what was removed. So there's an example on the next slide. It says, predict the direction of reaction when chlorine gas is added to a mixture of COCl2, CO, and Cl2. Well, Cl2 is a product, so it's right here, and I'm going to add this. So when I add something, it shifts away. So as a product, it's going to shift left, is one way to answer it, or towards reactants is the other way to answer it. And I warned in the previous video, don't answer both of these, because if you answer in opposite directions, then I have to count it wrong. So only answer one, and either answer is acceptable. Either it shifts left or it shifts towards the reactants. And that is the end of this video.